Here we are.
Hi guys, welcome to Stretty News TV. I am your host, Joey Tabor. Today I'm joined by two panelists and we are waiting for another one to join. So I'm going to introduce them now. This is Daniel. Daniel, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Great win tonight. Thanks for having me back on.
And Sean, who is from the States, but he's now in Manchester. Sean, say hello to the people.
How you doing, everybody?
Right, so we'll get into it. Two changes to the starting 11. Michael Carrick comes in for Schneiderlin and Herrera comes in for Schweinsteiger. It was Herrera's first start of the season. So, Dan, give me your thoughts on the starting 11. Were you happy with it? Me personally, I kind of think that the two holding midfielders do a really good job of shielding the back four. So I was a little, not nervous, but kind of, looking forward to see how it went. What did you think about the starting 11?
Yeah, I was fairly happy with the starting 11. We did talk before the game when it started that we were a bit. Obviously, you said you were a bit concerned. Didn't really want Januzaj to start, and I had a feeling about that as well. Wasn't sure whether he should start the game, but I was really pleased that Herrera started the game. Played great today, I thought, and I really hope that he can stay in the team now. I'm overall pretty pleased. I mean, obviously most of the team stayed the same there, so I'm pretty pleased that we're getting some consistency in the team and only changing one or two players. It looks like he's starting to know more or less what most of his starting lineup is going to be on a regular basis, which I think seems good.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to have consistency. Sean, same back four, same goalkeeper. What did you make of the back four today? And are you happy that we've been sticking with the same back four?
Yeah, look, our defense has been phenomenal. Shaw's been a monster. Said that the other night. Smalling, same thing. Darmian. The defense has been fantastic. They've only let the one goal in, and it was an own goal. So, and Romero came out and made that unbelievable save on that breakaway. I mean, the tie was over at that point. So, but he came out and made that. So, the back four and the goalkeeper have been phenomenal. There's not much you can say in it. And Shaw's getting up into attack, and Darmian's getting up into attack. So, it's been fantastic. You can't say anything about the defense right now.
Yeah, I have to agree. I'm going to welcome Haley at this time. Good to see you. I was just getting their opinion on Herrera starting, your thoughts on the starting 11, and then I was asking Sean about an unchanged back four. So I'll ask you all the same thing to give your thoughts, Haley.
Yeah, everything's all good at the back. We've not, if you discount it was pretty unlucky the goal in the home tie against Bruges, the sort of deflected goal from off Carrick. That was very unfortunate. I think it was just one of those goals that happens now and again. And that aside, we've not conceded any. So whatever you say about who we faced, that's pretty strong. Whether Blint will be sort of a long-term option when Rojo comes back in, or he's looking at this stage like we won't buy somebody, so I don't know, but he's taken to it pretty well, and you can't argue with the clean sheets and the performances. So the back line that played is exactly what I would have picked before the game started. In terms of the rest of the team, the midfield and whatnot, I think I speak probably for our whole fan base when I say that to see Ander Herrera finally get a start is massively positive, because he has had to be patient, and it was the same last season at times, but you kind of felt I felt personally a little bit like that. I thought he would start last week in the home tie, and then I thought he might start on Saturday, and then when he didn't start both those games, I was kind of a little bit worried, and then ironically, as sometimes happens, he had a bit of a poor first half. Probably, I would think, just trying to impress and trying to get involved and make an impression on the manager, because I'm sure he wants to start as much as possible. You would do when you're given fairly limited chances to start. You want to make your mark, and he was sitting deeper. But credit to Van Gaal, I really did think he would pull him off in the first half, because he had a yellow card. He wasn't playing his best at all. And Van Gaal let him stay on. Credit to him, because he was a different player in the second half. He played higher up the pitch, got a goal and an assist. Can't argue with that. He was great, and I think I don't know what it is about Van Gaal's sort of what is he wants in the number 10 role that doesn't allow Herrera to play there regularly. But I wish he would let Herrera, play there for a run of games and see what we can do. I just think it works.
No, I think you're absolutely right, and it's so funny because I tweeted that out. I said, who's been asking for Herrera to start in the 10 role, for a long time? This guy. Because I think that he offers us, almost a complete number 10. He can tackle, he can create goals, he can score, he keeps the ball moving, he's creative. I think he's everything we could really use in that 10 role. Dan, do you feel that, Herrera could move on into the 10 role? Do you think that's something you would like to see, Dan?
Yeah, definitely. I'd like to see that, but I think the big problem is that we've got quite a few players that can play in the number 10. I mean, you've got Juan Mata, who's obviously playing out on the wing. Wayne Rooney could drop back into the number 10 role if we do sign another striker, which does at this moment in time look a bit unlikely. And we've got Januzaj, Pereira, and quite a few players that can play there. So maybe his chances of playing in that number 10 role on a consistent basis could be a bit limited. But yeah, it's definitely a position that I would love to see him play, and I think he can do it well. I was really impressed, especially second half. It did take him a while, obviously, to get into the game tonight. First half, he wasn't at his best, but obviously he hasn't played a lot of football lately, like the other Manchester lads. So hopefully, if he can continue playing in the team and maybe playing in that number 10 role, I think he could definitely do a great job. I mean, he's scored a decent amount of goals. That's now his 9th goal for Manchester United already, which I'm really impressed with. And obviously he had an assist as well.
Yeah, as soon as he got moved forward, he found Rooney. He got his goal. Yeah, I think that in the big games, especially when you need a 3-man midfield, I think that him in the 10 spot with Rooney up top could be good for Manchester United moving forward. You touched on Januzaj, and for me, I just. This is his 3rd game, I think, in a row. Obviously he got the goal against Aston Villa off a deflection, I have to say. Sean, what did you think about Adnan Januzaj today? Do you think about Adnan Januzaj today? Because for me, he was kind of, missing on the pitch. And in a game where he could have, you saw Rooney get the hat trick, you feel like that could have been a game for Januzaj.
Yeah, he drifts in and out of the game too often, I think. He's got to get stronger. He's still a young kid, so he's still got some potential and talent, but he's definitely got to get stronger. I think he said when he was asked the other day about mixing it up, he said, listen, I'm kind of like a technical player. You kind of got to be able to do that. You kind of got to be able to hold off players if you're going to play out there, and especially at the 10. So, I mean, it wasn't his greatest game ever. So, and with the other players that we have available, like you said, Mata, Herrera, in those spots, it's going to be tough for him, I think, now to get a run of games. He's had a couple games here, got the goal, didn't really take advantage of what he's had. So I guess he's going to probably have to sit back now and watch these other guys get some game time.
Would you loan him out, Sean?
Yeah. Probably. I mean, if teams are asking for him, and if they, maybe they bring another player in. Depends now with all these extra games. You're going to have midweek matches a lot. You're going to need two players at each position. So it could go either way. But yeah, I think if he's going to go somewhere. Listen, if you're going to loan him out, he's got to go somewhere where he's going to be playing week in and week out. He can't be going on one of these loans where he's in the team, he's out of the team. He's got to be, really on the team sheet every week wherever he goes, and not, sit down. He's got to get game time. He's got to get stronger, and if he does that, if he's going to go somewhere and he's going to be one of the first names on the sheet where he goes, then yeah, definitely go on loan for a year and or even 6 months and see what you can do.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love him to go to a Swansea or Southampton. Two teams they play good football. They're Southampton known for bringing through youth. So we'll have to wait and see. And there's other players in that position, like you said. So he might be further down the pecking order now. Yeah. Fellaini got the goal. Mata, we all think should be playing there. Herrera got a goal and assist there. That's something that Januzaj didn't really capitalize on that. But we will talk about a player now that took it. Capitalized on not the strongest opposition. Everybody's favorite topic this week, Wayne Rooney. So we'll come to Haley. I don't know if she's sick of talking about him yet, but Haley, what did you think about his hat trick tonight? Are you looking forward to it? Does that, I still think we still need to buy another striker, obviously. Are you kind of worried, though, that Van Gaal might see this hat trick and think, well, hang on, now, maybe I'll be all right?
There's no way Van Gaal will make a decision on his team for the season on a game, so not to panic there. He won't have looked at but at the same time, he won't have looked at a per game and gone, oh shit, I need a striker now because Rooney's not scored in this game, and vice versa. He won't have looked at tonight and gone, oh, Rooney scored a hat-trick, I don't need anybody. He'll have made his mind up weeks ago, so we just have to be positive. I personally feel, yes, I would like a striker, but at the same time, if it was a choice between a striker and perhaps a really quality winger that got a lot of goals, like a Bale, just putting it out there, like a Gareth Bale, then that might be an option. That's probably quite unlikely, but we need another outlet that's going to score a lot of goals. The problem is what's out there. You've got the types of people I've mentioned, Lukaku, who's still quite raw and young, but he is strong and he's really coming into his own, and he's looked impressive so far in the short time this season. Would he be an option? Everton would probably demand something like 40 million plus. So we'd have to see. Harry Kane again, I don't think he will leave this season. Spurs would want, again, silly money, 50 million. So I don't know what the club's going to do before the end of the window. I feel winger and striker is, but I really don't know. But thank God Rooney had that performance tonight, because if not anything else, it's just been frustrating to see him. He's had sort of simple chances, and I do think some of it is to do with the service. It hasn't been perfect in previous games, but he was not taking chances that he would normally take. But the thing with Rooney is, and this is why he goes in bursts of one sort of period of time, he might score a goal, maybe score 12 goals in 10 games or whatever. It's purely because he's a confidence player, and when he's not good, he's really bad. And when he's good, he's great, So this is why another striker might be a good idea, because he can't be relied on all season. Plus, he could get injuries as well. And Hernandez's misses tonight were a little bit concerning, but it was only 20-minute game. But overall, as I said, you can't sort of look at Rooney and go, yeah, he's going to play 50+ games, because that's very unlikely for any player. But overall, you've got to give him credit. He was much better tonight, and in fact, if you look up to when he actually scored, I was worried again up until that point, and it kind of just goes to show you, if he gets a bit of confidence, he's a different player. He then started his first touch improved. He then started getting in the right positions. He was putting the right balls through. And he looked a little bit more like the Rooney of old, where he was getting involved. He was not just getting in the box, but he was creating things. And he scored a hat-trick. You can't really complain about that. If that's a sign of things, I think Rooney could score 20+ goals this season. That's a big thing, but we definitely still need something else in attack. Whether that's going to be a goal-scoring winger that's going to get 15+ goals, or whether that is an attacker that can drop back, a striker, that can sort of play in the way. I don't know what the answer is. Because the players that I would kind of want seem to be unavailable, but you've got to be happier tonight after previous games. If he continues like this and keeps his confidence up, I think he will score more. He will score goals, and that's what he's been missing. I don't know what you guys think about the Newcastle game. There was a lot of set fans on here, but we were unlucky. We were unlucky. We should have scored a couple of goals at least. Rooney's goal was offside, so maybe that was a little bit OTT from everybody. Myself, I was a bit disheartened after the game, but maybe that was a little OTT, and maybe in a different day, Rooney's goal would have counted, and then we would have had confidence to go on and get one or two more. It's fine margins, isn't it? So that's the thing.
Yeah, you're Steve White said it last year. Such fine margins. I think there was a Di Maria play, and the ball goes in, his confidence goes up. Flag goes up, his confidence goes down or stays the same. And myself included, I was frustrated last weekend with the Newcastle result because Smalling hits the post late in the game, and we had our chances, but 7 points from 9, I can't really complain too much. Haley touched on Javier Hernandez there, Dan, and Ian Murphy asked the question in the comments, does Hernandez want to be with us? He probably should have scored 2, almost had a hat trick. He missed the penalty, and after the penalty missed, the cameras kind of panned right to Van Hal and Giggs, and they kind of just looked at each other. What does this mean for Hernandez?
I don't know, really. I mean, it probably looks to me as though he's going to stay because I don't think that whoever Louis van Gaal wants to come into Manchester United, I'm not sure he's going to get. Obviously, we don't really know the actual targets he does want, but obviously the papers have obviously got the likes of Thomas Muller, Neymar, Bale, all them. But obviously, we're not going to get any of them, so it does look like he probably is going to have to stay because I wouldn't really want to get rid of him just in case when Rooney gets injured and then we're going to be relying on pretty much no one up front. So I would personally say we're going to have to keep him, but tonight he missed 2 really good chances. Well, obviously the penalty he should have put away, but he did slip. But that second chance there right at the end, even though I think I would have scored that one. So I think he's got to do better than that. I mean, but I'm not too sure that many big clubs are going to be looking to sign him. I know there's been talk of the likes of West Ham signing him, which, I mean, he could go to one of them sort of clubs, but I can't really see it unless we get someone else in. But to me, that's really looking a bit unlikely. But he really does need to do better for me.
Yeah, I think he needs to do better, but I think that if we were to bring another striker in, that way maybe you could send Wilson out on loan and then keep Hernandez as third choice. I know he probably doesn't want that. So I want to talk a little bit about Brugge, Sean, because we kind of talked about it before we went live. And I was personally surprised that they kind of gave up the way they did. They had a really good chance in the first, I think, 5 minutes that Luke Shaw blocked. Had that gone in, we have a totally different ball game. Sean, were you surprised at maybe the lack of urgency from Brugge after 5-10 minutes? And did it seem like they tried, to go all out first 5-10 minutes, and then they kind of just gave up?
I mean, honestly, this was probably the perfect draw for United. Brugge came into the draw banged up. They had 3 or 4 starters injured. And then after the first leg, the guy gets sent off and another guy gets injured. So they're missing 5 or 6 starters coming into this match, and then they start the game kind of open and trying to get that early goal. And the second half, I mean, really, the game should have been 6-0, 5-0, 6-0, 7-0. It could have been any score they wanted. They just, they're just not a very good team, honestly, right now with the amount of players they have out. So, I mean, you got to try. I guess the first 5-10 minutes, if Brugge gets a goal, I mean, obviously the tie is on, and then maybe they put United under a little bit of pressure. Then United now, hey, if we give up another goal, we're out. So you got to try to do that, and then really, honestly, once it's 1-0 at halftime, there's nothing really to lose going for it. But you get down 3-4 nothing, you don't want to get embarrassed. So I was kind of a little, they were kind of still open at that point. They just there was a 10-minute period where United really should have scored like 4 or 5 goals. It was just.
Yeah, it was almost like a training session almost.
But like these other ties, I mean, a lot of these other ties came down to the last 5-10 minutes of the tie, and this one was really the only one that was a blowout. So it just really was the perfect team for United to play against.
Yeah, absolutely. And sticking with Sean, there was a question in the comments. How long do you think it would take Memphis to fulfill his potential? So I'm going to shoot that question to you. He set up Rooney's first goal coming off that wing. Did a few dummies and slipped the ball through to Rooney, who chipped it over the keeper. How impressive have you been with Memphis over this Champions League? Because he has performed better in these 2 games. I know it's against Brugge, but in the Champions League you're gifted a little more space as well. Have you been impressed with Memphis? And back to the question, how long do you think it'll take for him to fulfill his potential?
Yeah, look, he's obviously, going to be the most talented player on the pitch, and most times he's out there. So, but he's young. He's a 21-year-old kid. So you got to remember, what you were doing when you were playing 21. Sometimes you make these great plays. Those 2 goals he scored last week were kind of the the thing that you bring up. But then sometimes he's gonna go to goal and he's got the guy and he could square it too, and he just blasts it and it hits the side of the net. He's gonna make mistakes. He's gonna kind of have some rushes of blood to the head that young kids have, and you got to kind of accept that. And when these kids are coming in, and he's got all the talent in the world. He's the player of the year in the Eredivisie last year at 20 years old. He's scoring goals in the World Cup at 19, 20 years old. So the kid's got talent. It's obvious. I think it's going to take a couple months for him to settle in. It's a different league. He's going to get kicked around a little bit. He's going to get fouled a lot, and he's going to have games where he's going to have a goal and 2 assists or 2 goals, and he's going to have games where he's going to drift in and out of the match and be really not have a great game. I mean, we're kind of used to that with players like Nani, who was phenomenal for about 6 months. But, he would have these really kind of games where you want to pull your hair out. And I don't think he's going to be obviously, as bad as some of those games were, but he's going to have games where he's going to be ineffective. And you just got to stick with him because the kid is ultra talented, and he's going to score goals, and he's going to set up goals, and he opens up space. I mean, you see what he did. He tore the defense apart for Rooney's goal, and that's what he does. I mean, you got to stick with him, kind of through thick and thin. You give him a little bit of a break every once in a while in some of these matches, and you bring him off the bench, but he's definitely going to be, by the time I think maybe November, December comes around, he should be getting into, prime form.
Yeah, I'm so excited to watch him play for us. Put on the shirt. He seems to understand what the 7 shirt means. He's got all the characteristics of a goal-scoring winger. I remember when Di Maria came those first few games, and you could see the whole crowd just stand up when he got on the ball. It's like that with Memphis, and that bit of star quality and that bit of unpredictability, is something that we need at this club. Because also, football is for entertainment as well, and we want to be entertained. And Haley, sometimes last year it was hard to watch. There was a period where we were absolutely brilliant, probably one of the best spells put together by any team last year in England. Spurs, Liverpool, City, Villa, that spell. Now, with us qualified for the Champions League, does that make Van Gaal's first season a success?
Yeah, I think in short, yeah, it does, because he inherited a broken squad, in my opinion. He had. If you look at the players that he got rid of, even between then and right up to now, you could pick out. He probably got rid of 15 to 20 players alone. I mean, it's massive. And players, you feel you might not going. You look at the Makeda Zaha. I can't even remember half of them. Darren Fletcher. Maybe the only one that is even debatable, in my opinion, is some people say, did we let Van Persie go too early? In my opinion, that wage bill, if we want to play one striker up top, despite Rooney's sort of, mediocre start to the season, you can't keep a player on that wages on the bench. So we weren't going to play 2 up tops. Van Gaal had to make a choice, and he made that, which is not easy to do. So even that, in my opinion, was the right decision. He got rid of Welbeck. How's Welbeck doing at Arsenal? You got to ask yourself that. He can't play. He can't get in the pitch because there's other players there that are already better. And realistically, he was brought in as a kind of cover for Giroud, and he came back and put Welbeck out of the team. I understand he's injured now, but when he comes back, is he going to displace Giroud or Walcott? No. Van Gaal's made a lot of difficult decisions, and he's got it right. So, in short, it's not been easy. He had a bit of a mess, especially in midfield. He came into Carrick, who had a fantastic season last season. He was so important for us. But, the sad reality is when he was out last season, it was really hard for us. That kind of, in my opinion, disrupted our great run and could have been the reason why we didn't finish higher than 4th, which is a shame. But, he made tough calls, and it didn't matter last season. It was about just getting the job done and getting 4th place. He's done that now. People are expecting more, which is fair enough. We've spent a bit of money now. Di Maria didn't work out. I would rather have a player, even if he is a record signing and sold, because he's got the wrong attitude and he doesn't really want to be there. Did he want to be there from the start? That's another issue. We don't even know. But certainly his attitude looked like he wanted to go in the end. So he's gone now. fine. You've got to move on from those things, and I think we do need to be patient to a certain degree, but I think if we are a bit patient, I think the football will become at a level where we feel entertained. If you could watch what we saw tonight every week, then great. But that's not going to happen, because ultimately you're not going to play teams as poor as Spurs tonight in the Premier League every week, and you're certainly not going to be in the Champions League. So you've got to be realistic in what your expectations are. But everybody just wants to see attacking football. They just want to see goals. They don't want to see 1-0s. 1-0s ultimately win games, but at the same time, you don't want that every game all season. So if what Van Gaal's done is shore up the midfield and defence and make us hard to score against, what if with a little bit of work we improve the attack? Doesn't that then mean we've gone from 7th place, a bit of a mess, to sort of scraping top 4, not easy, but we've done it, to we could have a very good team if we improved the attack, which with tonight as some sort of signs, it was a pretty poor team, so can't read too much into it. But maybe if we add another attacking player, we could end up in quite a strong position. Our midfield is one of the best in the league. We left Schweinsteiger and Schneiderlin on the bench, and yes, okay, Herrera didn't have a great first half. He was a bit rusty, but we know what he can do. We have probably the strongest midfield in the league. We just need to sort of get that quality, in attack. And with the centre-back issue, at the minute, I'm not even going to say anything, because until we start conceding goals, yes, the opposition's not been the hardest, but can't complain about it. There's absolutely no point whenever we're basically keeping everything out, whether that's Schneiderlin or whether that's the sort of addition of Darmian, maybe it's Shaw coming in, but you've got to say, even with the whole sort of Blint, is he good enough for centre back or not? That's a question some people kind of bicker about. Look at the rest of the defence: Shaw, Darmian, and Smalling. Can you not say that those are all fantastic defenders now? Yes, so I'm not so worried about the defence. I think the stats speak for themselves. So we just need to get this attack working, and if we can bring somebody else in, great. I hope we do, and it could be good.
Yeah, there's an article in the Manchester Evening News by Samuel Luckhurst, I think it was, and he said that United are one good center back away from having another dominant back four. You look at Darmian, Shaw; they've been fantastic this year. Both young, both quality. Chris Smalling has been immense since the red card. And Daley Blind has done a job so far coming in, and he reads the game well, but there's question marks against in the air and physically, and we'll have to wait and see how that situation pans out. But with that, I think that one more center back will complete this defense, and then you have, like you said, Schneiderlin and Schweinsteiger shielding the back four. That's immense. That lets the front four have free roam and do what they want. So I'm going to read some of the comments now. I want to thank everybody for watching too. We're gonna talk a little bit about the potential draw and the panel's thoughts. Simon Collins, Adam Burgess, Kamikaze Pepsi, Nidge 18, Double Decker Deck, who's been talking about a center back is needed because no offense to the teams that we played, but they're not Diego Costa, they're not a Sergio Aguero, so we'll have to wait and see. Shaker Shawcross, I think LVG wants Bale for White Ring, but that looks unlikely. Day Telegraph, a Dutch paper who's been spot on about most things, report a £73 million bid for a marquee player. We'll have to wait and see if that comes true. There's mention about Cuadrado and Hummels next summer they're talking about, and Royce, who probably will never leave Dortmund unless it's for one of the Spanish two, and Griezmann, who could fill in on the wing or at striker. And we'll have to wait and see what happens. There's only a few days left in the window. So thanks everyone for watching. If you could, chuck a like on this video. It would mean a lot. So now I want to ask the panel just quickly, starting with Dan. The worst potential draw we could get is ourselves, Barcelona, Roma, and I think it's Shakhtar Donetsk. That'd be a tough draw. I think we'd probably go through because I don't think Roma are as good as the rest. But I mean, still, that's one hell of a tough draw. Is there any teams that you guys want to see? Go ahead, Haley.
I was just going to say you could actually get what you just said, but you could also get Wolfsburg as well as Roma in pot four. So you think of pot four as those are the easier teams, but there's a couple of not easy teams in there at all. So, the chances are maybe 1 in 4 of getting a really hard, top 4 team as well, and then you're looking at a group of death, basically. So it could be tough.
And it'll be interesting to see what Wolfsburg do with this, 80 million euros that they're about to get from City. See how they reinvest it. Haley, do you prefer, well, obviously maybe not a group of death, but do you want to see us challenge in Europe? That's what the Champions League is for, isn't it? Do you want to see us playing the best teams in Europe? And out of pot 1, which team would you like to see us play? Like me personally, I would love to see us play Juventus just because we have a history of some decent games. You think of the Champions Leagues. Treble-winning season, that performance by Roy Keane. So for me, I would like to see us play Juventus or get in the same group as them.
Juventus would be brilliant, actually. Yeah, they're a really good shout. We haven't played them for quite some time, so that would be really exciting. Barcelona are a dreaded team, but if you're going to be someone that could go to the game, Barcelona is an amazing city. So that's for a different reason. Some of the guys I would love to try and get over to an away tie, but I'm sure it'll be crazy for tickets and hotels, etc. But I think you want to progress. You desperately look at it and go, I want to play a team that's going to give me the best chance of getting through. But at the same time, how exciting is it to go, right, it's only the group stage and I'm playing Bayern Munich, I'm playing, it's massively exciting. And those are the games that are going to make people just so look forward to it so much. So I'm just going to see what happens. If it comes out, I honestly, genuinely believe, if it comes out that we end up with Bayern Munich, I can't actually remember who else is in pot 3, Bayern Munich, CSK, and Roma, whatever it is, yeah, Christ, you look at that on paper and it's a bit scary and it's touch and go, but I don't think Van Gaal will look at that and go, shit, we're not going to qualify. I think he will be, cheers for that. I'm just getting the pot 3 in front of me. I actually can't see that, but there's some hard teams. Shakhtar,
Sevilla, Lyon, Kiev, Olympiacos, CSK, Galatasaray, and Roma.
Yeah, you don't want any of those teams really in terms of they're not easy ties, and some of them are far away, and if you have to go to Russia, for example, that's an absolute pain to your Premier League. So there are teams you don't want, but you're not going to. I don't think people will look at a tie like Barcelona and Bayern and say this is the end of the world. I think people will be so excited for it, and Van Gaal will never look at it and go, yeah, we're screwed. I think he genuinely believes that he's got the experience to take on anybody. He said it tonight, didn't he? So he's not going to be overly scared. So I guess we shouldn't be. Just see what happens, and you've got to beat these people anyway. So if you're going to go anywhere, you have to beat Bayern Munich, you have to beat Barcelona, you have to beat PSG. So let's just take it whatever comes and just deal with it. Well, I'm happy to be in it.
Yeah, absolutely. After that year out, you really do appreciate it just a little bit more. Mm-hmm. Sean, same question. I think it's against fate, that we're going to be drawn against Bayern Munich just because we have Schweinsteiger, or the Di Maria situation against PSG. Sean, same question. Who do you want to see us drawn against?
Well, to be honest, last year I went to see Benfica play Bayer Leverkusen in the 6th match of the group stage. So Lisbon, one of my real good friends is from Lisbon and Portugal. So Benfica would be great. PSV, Zenit. I mean, any of those teams would be decent draws. I mean, pot 3, it's tough. There's a bunch of really good teams in there. Olympiacos probably would be my, Olympiacos or Galatasaray. I mean, they're all pretty kind of far away. So, and then, pot 4, Astana or Ghent, that would be, back to Belgium, that would be pretty good. But look, it's the Champions League. Everybody's good. There's not going to be too many easy matches. I mean, you just kind of want to limit the how far you have to go. You don't want to be going to Tel Aviv, Moscow, and
Ukraine.
I mean, that would be although it would be maybe an easy group to get through. I mean, Oh, I think your dog agrees with me about that. They don't want to travel to, especially with those games, the matches, some of the matches they have after those away ties. So everybody's going to be good. It doesn't, it's just good to be back in it. Lisbon would be fantastic. It's a great city. Portugal, I'd get over there and get the, foot-long shrimp and all that stuff that I had when I was there. So that would be interesting.
Yeah, Dan, I'll ask you the same thing. Sorry about the dogs; they are freaking out. They don't want to travel to Eastern Europe either.
Yeah, I'm not too bothered really who we get in the group stage. I mean, I would be quite happy if we got a big tie like Barcelona in the group, or as you said, Juventus, or even PSG, because every game in it's going to be tough, and if we want to progress to the latter stages, we're going to have to be looking to beat some of these bigger teams. So I'm not too bothered, because if you look last year, Chelsea got a fairly rarely comfortable group, and they ended up playing PSG in the knockout round. So to be honest, I'm not too fussed about the group. I'm just looking forward to some more great games at Old Trafford. Hopefully, in September. Hopefully there'll be some cracking games at Old Trafford in the Champions League, and I just can't wait for the group stage to return. Really.
Sure, you'll have to get yourself a ticket to Europe, to the UK.
Yeah, that's it. But I might never come back, so I have to prepare for these things.
Yeah.
So if you have a couch open for me somewhere in Europe, let me know. Thanks for everyone for watching. Happy to be in the Champions League proper now. The draw, I believe, is tomorrow, so I don't know if there'll be a reaction show from us. I'll find out. We'll get that posted. Thanks for watching. Thank you to our panel, Sean, Haley, Dan. Sorry for the late start. Google tends to be a pain in the ass. So thanks for watching, everyone, and have a good night.